Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the briefing. Today we are talking about three issues: online admissions, exams, and the school readiness. So MEC will take us through the presentation and we will give you an opportunity to ask questions at the end of the briefing. MEC?
Okay, thank you so much. Let me just quickly start and get into the briefing. Good morning, and let me just echo the sentiments that were shared by the spokesperson to say we really appreciate this opportunity to update particularly the people of Gauteng, where we are in terms of the three. So am I not audible? Okay, I must just move closer. Is it better now? Okay. As I was saying, thanks for coming through and giving us this opportunity to update in particular the people of Gauteng, the parents, on the three issues that I'll be going through. Should not be a very long, but a long update on the three. The first one is the NEC exam completion, just to give feedback in terms of how did the process unfold. The 2025 online admission learner placement, and then obviously, lastly, the school readiness. In relation to the NEC exam, we had a total of 189,693 candidates, just to recap. And out of those, we had 136,051 full-time candidates, and then we had 53,642, which were part-time and repeater candidates. We've had some incidences, isolated incidents, I have to say. You know that some learners will try to take chances, which included imposters, somebody trying to write on behalf of a learner, which included crib notes, some few learners caught with crib notes, some with cell phones. But overall, none of those incidences really affected the overall integrity of the examination in any way, because we were able to apprehend them immediately and took those learners through a due process of disciplinary hearings. So the exams ran pretty well on the part of Gauteng. I know that there was a question asked about the geography paper. That's another one. It's not the NSC one. It's another, it's not the National Senior Certificate. So Umalusi will deal with it. I know there's a name for it, I forgot it. But it's not the National Senior Certificate. I'm speaking about this because I need to speak about the integrity of the National Senior Certificate overall. Exam materials were always distributed on time. We've never had an incident where they were late or there were shortages. Everything, if there were issues, were promptly dealt with in the examination centers. We never had any load shedding in between, albeit challenges, maybe one or two schools, but it's not necessarily load shedding, maybe it's a municipal challenge, etc. But overall, there's never really been a challenge with the exam. We began with the early marking on the 14th of November until the 25th of November, which was completed quickly and swiftly. There was no challenges. And the main marking began on the 1st of December to the 13th. While I'm on this note, we lost one of our markers who had an accident as when they were leaving our center. I think it's around here in Alberton. It's around Alberton. She was marking the Xhosa paper. May her soul rest in peace. It's nothing in the center. She was just leaving, going home. And then she tripped, fell, and we lost her. So condolences to her family and the school at large that she worked at. We had over 12,000 appointed markers, which were all trained. And center managers. Everybody was ready. So overall, we are comfortable with the NSC exam process. It went quite well, and I'm really proud of the team that has been led by Nadine. She's not here, and the overall institutional leadership, HOD, and the DDG. So the results will be announced by the minister on the 13th, and then the provincial results will be announced on the 14th, the day after. Which is going to be a spectacle, as you know, bring all our top learners, top performing learners, top performing schools, top performing districts. Gauteng always gets something, especially on the level of districts. We're number one. We produced the best performing districts in the previous NSC process. So. And number 3, and also I think we're at about 4 in the top 10, but I'm hoping that we'll get more. But I know they worked very hard. The districts and the learners and the educators, the whole system worked very hard. So we are confident of a decent showing in this process. We will continue to offer bursaries. I know this is a general concern with some learners. We still continue to offer bursaries to the top 3, 1, 2, 3 learners, top performing learners in our no-fee paying schools. Because this is what we've been doing, full bursaries. So we will continue with that. We do have budgetary challenge, which I will talk to later. But this one, it's a commitment that we have made, and a commitment that we are intending to keep to our children, those who perform well in the schools. So the top 3 learners in the no-fee paying school will continue to get bursaries, full bursaries from ourselves. So moving quickly to the online admission for grade 1 and 8, we had a total of 344,890 total applications, of which 165,785 was 165,785 was grade 1, and 179,105 were for grade 8. And then out of that, we had 8,379, which were incomplete, meaning they didn't fully comply with the submission that we requested of them, all the necessary documentation for grade 8s, which left us with 157,406 that we should place. Likewise, with the grade 8, we had 10,653, which were incomplete. And that left us with 168,452 that we needed to place. As you know, the placement criteria always is the same, is the 5 principles that we utilize. The first one being home address within the feeder zone, the siblings, and the feeder school. And then obviously the work address, and then less than 30 kilometers, and then beyond 30 Ks. So those, we'll continue to utilize that to place our learners. So that remained the key criteria. Now, the work that we have done so far, and this I'm happy to talk about, because we are in a better position than we have ever been since we started with online placement. I know that there will be people who are questioning there and there, but in terms of grade 1, we have placed all the completed applications. Completed. When you are incomplete, we didn't place you. We didn't even touch you. We can't place a person that we don't know. So they didn't give us information, so that means the 8,379 incomplete applications are not here. We're talking about the 157,406. We have placed them. All of them grade 1. And then grade 8, we are left with 124 only out of the total of 168,452. We are left with 124 to place. So we are almost done. But if you look at the graph and go to the total capacity, you'll be seeing that we've got 427,725. Now, these are overall spaces, but remember, it's not the space, it's where the schools are. See, so the issue is that there are spaces, but it's not where the demand is. Because automatically you would have assumed, because we've got 427, definitely you should be able to place 344. But where are these spaces? There are areas in Gauteng which, for example, I'll speak about the Merafong area. People are moving from those areas into the inner center because of employment opportunities, etc. So as they move in, they bring their children, and some of their schools will be left empty. And that's the situation that we are dealing with. So we are left with 124 learners to place, and all those learners are in the Kempton Park area. Kempton Park area is one of the fast growing areas in our province, in particular because of, if you look at the growth in the Tembisa, and also the developments that are taking place there. It's always these townhouses, high-rise buildings that have been built across, and that has really put pressure on us in that area. So we are left with 124 learners to place. So tonight we'll be having a meeting with the parents of the 124. So I'm not expecting to find 500 people there or 1,000. If it's 124 learners and we times that by 2, mommy and daddy, it should be 248 parents, not anything more. See, so this is not an opportunity for some parents who want to say, no, but the transfer, I'm not really comfortable perhaps with the transfer, I'm not comfortable with the placement. And why raise this? For example, there are parents who have applied for schools. They applied. After they apply for the school, they come back and say, we place them in the 5 schools. Because I've been saying this, when you choose the 5, it doesn't matter when you say 1 is this one and number 5 is this one. We don't work like that. We assume, we move with an assumption that the 5 schools are schools that you as a parent are happy to have your child placed at. That's why when you place you there, you appeal, I don't even entertain it. Because you chose the school. We didn't choose the school on your behalf. We only work with those that are placed in schools that they didn't apply for. Those are the appeals we entertain. Those that chose the school, we placed your child at one of those schools, it's a non-negotiable. Now we have parents who also come back and say, you placed my child at this school. I've just realized my finances can't afford this school. Now, as a parent, you should have done the research that this school requires fees. I have a parent who came to me around a school in Hyde Park. Says that parent, it's a she, okay, chose Hyde Park as in fact, it was number 1 for her. I want Hyde Park, I want this one and this one and this one. the child gets placed in Hyde Park. The parent comes back to me and says, I went to Hyde Park, it's expensive. They want 14,000 registration, and then they want fees of about 6,800. I realize I can't afford it. But now as a parent, now you're putting us in a difficult position as a system, because we don't have a problem with removing your child from that. But now the next problem is that all other schools are full. All other schools are full. So you'll have to choose. We're going to give you the school another school, because correctly you're able to identify your economic challenges. But now, why I'm raising this, I want parents to also understand, don't apply for schools that you can't afford to pay fees. I won't say even as a department, as government, we are going through difficult period in terms of our finances. We don't have the money to subsidize parents that don't want to pay fees. So parents, the schools that we've placed your child, that you applied for, you have to pay the fees. You have to pay the fees. If you don't pay the fees, the school collapses. That's why you find schools that were quintile 4 and 5, former Model C schools, which a few years back, they were nice, prim and proper. After some years now, you go back to those schools, you come back and say those schools are dilapidated. They are dilapidated because parents don't want to pay fees, but they want the schools that pay fees. In fact, one of the chief that tells me that if these learners even have smartphones that cost more than the fees of that school. They are carrying them around. But the parent will tell you, I don't have money to pay fees, but the child is carrying an iPhone 16. I'm not saying that parents should not buy their kids. Buy your kid the phone and pay the fees as well. That should be the principle. Because if they don't pay fees, the school collapses. We don't have money. There are schools that require lots of money. We are sitting with a debt of almost 500 million HOD. Yes. For rates and taxes, and we don't have that money. When schools' electricity gets turned off, they come to us. They run. Yeah, the electricity is off because you're not paying your fees. So parents, you're going to have to pay your fees, unfortunately. And I'm not one to run to, because you chose the school that require fees. If you don't want to pay fees, be honest, come to us. We have almost more than 1,400 no-fee paying schools. So come to us, we'll put your child there. Because those schools, we subsidize them more than we're subsidizing these ones that fee pay. These ones that take fees, it means we're not giving them money. So they have to get money from, the fees so that they can maintain the infrastructure and maintain the school. So it's important that I have to raise this, that going forward, everybody needs to take responsibility and work with us. If you are in a school that requires fees, pay it. They pay transport. The cost of transporting your child to that school that you chose is far less, is more than the money that you should be paying for school fees. You find that the school fees per annum is about 10,000 or 15,000. Transport is 2,000. They are paying their transport every month. They don't even have a problem. They are paying their 2,000, but they don't want to pay fees. So we require all hands on deck here. We require parents to work with us around the fees. So everybody must pay fees when they're in a school that pays fees. Everyone. All of us. It's our collective responsibility. We do look at some extreme situations, but it can't be everybody. And some of these parents want these schools that require fees. Like deliberately, they want this one. Say, I want this one. And when you ask them, are you going to be able to pay? That's when they keep quiet. So parents, if you're in the school that require fees, the schools are going to come after you demanding those fees. And I'm going to support the schools, because if you don't support the schools, the school will collapse. And when the school collapses, it's not about denying the quality education for your child alone, but also future generations who must come and benefit from that school. Because now when we repurpose our budgets, we need to focus on no fee, because that's where we know our most vulnerable go to. So we need to transform them, because we also change the structure of the schools. Why don't you change a township school into looking into like another quintile? We can't change, because we're also assisting that quintile 4 and 5 school, which we are not supposed to be doing correctly. Then we can invest here. So our money gets utilized, becomes very thin. So everybody needs to pay their fees. So parents are going to have to pay your fees, unfortunately, going forward. And the schools will have to really strengthen their hand with regard to getting fees from those particular parents. Because if they don't pay, the school collapses and it's even worse off. Because it's not about now, it's about the future. We need to maintain our infrastructure, we need to maintain the quality standard of our schools, and we need everybody to understand that this is the situation. There are no fee schools. In fact, there are more no fee paying schools than those that pay. So we were able to cover for both. So the transfers, just to run it quickly, the issue of transfer is when you place in your child at a school you didn't choose, and in that period, we give you 7 days to accept or decline. If you don't say anything, 7 days we automatically place. But if you decline, you write an objection, all the way up to the statistics, all the way up to myself as the MEC. And when it's at the MEC, my decision is final. But what I have to say to parents, we are always reasonable. I look at every particular appeal within its own merit. It's not to say it's an automatic that if the district said this, it's going to happen at the MEC. No, they know very well. Because I look for other additional information so that I can be able to make a determination around the placement of the child. So that process continues. It's always there, but it's only available to parents who had completed applications and learners were placed at schools that they did not choose. And what is important with that as well is the commitment that we're making as a department, that we have committed to make sure that all our schools are on the same standards. That's a commitment that we always make. So that process is still there for some of for parents. The GD admission will always be running throughout the holidays, as well as our call center will be running at skeleton levels. But this is in particular for learners with for completed applications. So there's going to be a process for okay, let me just run to this one, I'll come back. We have created provision and intervention to make sure that we place learners. We will be having 20 mobile schools, satellite schools rather, not mobile, satellites. Satellite schools across our province over a period of 3 years. And remember, some of these satellites will be closing because we are building schools. It just that becomes a temporary area where we house them up until we are completing. For instance, in Igurule North, we are building about 3 schools. We are expecting around 3 schools in the next academic year, so you know that automatically then we'll be moving those learners into those particular schools. But as it stands, we'll continue to have these satellite schools, which are three in Kuruleni North, Gauteng East as 2, Joburg Central 1, Joburg West 1, Citybeng East 2, Tshwane North 1, Tshwane South 1, and here's another area, Tshwane West. We are going to have 9. So Tshwane West is the Acacia, Shangube, that area in Tshwane. So we have a lot of demand. There's space shortages in that area. So we are going to have 9 satellite schools in that area. So we have set aside a budget for that, just quickly. So we are going to be deploying 453 mobiles and 73 ablution facilities in these particular satellite schools, and also other schools where we can put the mobile schools. Our intervention remains, our self-build program still continuing. In some schools, it has been quite successful. We've had some challenges with some of them, but majority, they've been able to build additional classroom capacity. So I want to thank those particular schools and those SGBs really to take advantage of that, that we've given them money to build additional classroom, and they actually did it. There was no conflict between the SGB and the school principal and some extortionists in the community, because the issue of extortion is a big problem. It's a big problem because it also delays some of the infrastructure work that we want to do in our schools. It's always disrupted. There's, in fact, community, I don't know who in the community, but those are extortionists. So law enforcement agencies, they really need to work with us. Because if they don't, it always delays and it's a problem. It's just a knock-on effect that we experience. Even to deploy a mobile, some community members stop the truck carrying a mobile classroom. Say, no, but we want 30%. I mean, these are prefabricated structures. I don't know what 30% they're talking about. So they are criminals, to put it this way. Extortionists are thugs who honestly are a big impediment to the progress of our department, even in our province and country at large. So the police really need to work around the clock. As and when we report them, they need to come and intervene and ensure that there's no disruption at all with regard to when we do this work in building infrastructure for our schools. But we do have task teams that we deploy, we create in communities, so that obviously we need some form of community bilateral, so that those community members who with integrity, who want to see best for their kids, come on board and work with us. So quickly running to the late applications, we are going to be opening up for late applications from the 11th of December, which is just, I think, 4 days from now, until the 30th of January. So these 19,000, they're going to have to go and choose schools there. They're only going to choose schools that are available. Not choose a school and run to the district, because that's what they've been doing. They choose a school and then they go into the district to go and form a queue and talk about schools they didn't choose. Say, I don't want this school. So parents must also not lie, because the system captures. Because they choose a school, they come, their late application, they want this, they just choose a school so that the child gets accepted and go to the district and go and demand another school. So parents are really urged to desist from that behavior and accept what is available on the system. And lastly on this one, I'm urging parents to submit the applications of the child, full documentations. We want to know who's this child you are placing. So it's important. Not this year, your name is Matome Chiloane. Tomorrow, January comes, you are Sibusiso Ndlovu. Next year, the child's name is changed. Just please give us correct documents. Let's stick to it. We need to know the child, because overall, we also need to capture the performance of the child. So if you change every time, so integrity is required. So parents, please, this is important. Late application does not mean you are not going to submit documents. You are going to submit the full documents, because that's what we need to have our kids at school. So with regard to readiness, we focus on 5 key areas: the LTSM, learner teacher support material, school furniture, scholar transport, nutrition, and school safety. So we have been able to deploy and be ready with our learner teacher support material at our 2,086 schools. And out of that, 1,886 use the decentralized procurement model, which is done in schools. And then 202 is a centralized procurement model. So that process has been undertaken. We are done. It was concluded on the 31st of October 2024. Here's now the nice one. In South Africa, I know they don't want to hear it, some of them, we are number one in terms of retrievals. We are sitting at 96.6% or 97%. This is a good retrieval rate. So we're doing quite well. And I want to thank the parents and the learners who really work with us with the retrieval. So we are doing well in terms of the retrieval. School furniture, we will continue to deploy. As you can see, we deployed over 224,431 school furniture in the past academic year, which covered 516 primary schools and 338 secondary schools. Our ICT program, we are continuing with it. It went quite well. We managed to supply 21,309 teachers with brand new laptops in the past academic year. And obviously, our ICT school, general schools, and SOS will still continue to supply devices. Scholar transport, because of learning space, because of in certain areas, this cost always continues to go up. But we are sitting with around 1.1, which is allocated as a conditional grant. But I can tell you it's not enough, because the number of learners are increasing and we're anticipating them to increase. But so far we're working with 227,000 learners that are currently benefiting from this learner transport. And here I'm urging the Department of Community Safety and Transport to really work with us to identify those non-roadworthy buses. Yes, we do work, we do have teams that go around, look at the state of these buses, but the Department of Community Safety, Transport and Community Safety must work with us, but more importantly, the parents. You need to look at the bus that your child is going into. And if the bus is wrong, don't tell us the state of the bus that is taking our children here from this area. This is the condition. If you have a smartphone, take a picture. But it's not important, just report it. That's all. Then we're going to take it up. And those contractors, I'm still saying to you, if you're going to bring on-roadworthy buses that are not fit to take our learners, because we're specific when we appointed the current contract. We said we don't want buses that are older than 15 years. So all buses must be less than 15 years in terms of the lifespan of the buses. So a 15-year-old bus is not bad. It's a recently new bus, because buses, you can utilize them for a long period of time. So we expect the condition of those buses to be of that particular time frame. So parents and learners need to also report the state of the buses to their parents. So with regard to nutrition, we are currently feeding 1.7 million learners out of 1,662 schools. That's why I always dismiss. And there was that one case that we asked about the learner who passed on from food, buying snacks and food poisoning, that it's not nutrition in our school. Every day we are feeding 1.7 million. 1.7, so it can't be one. Because it's one pot. I mean, if a pot is feeding 200, we should expect 200 cases at a go in terms of learners being sick. So there was no way. It was just an attempt by some, in particular, I know some were trying to divert attention, but it's not us. We are very thorough with the quality that we feed our kids every day. Every day, the nutrition aspect were quite important. We've got 8,517 food handlers and 234 chief food handlers who are on contract, who are working with us. Some of them are quite experienced. They've been doing this for quite a number of years. So we are comfortable. So we're doing quite well there. The academic year beginning at the 15th, we will be deploying members of the Executive Council, but obviously we know that there's a lot of interest. So we are urging that even if you go on the 1st or 15th of January to schools, don't disrupt. Go check on the readiness of the school. Because education is a societal matter. We want everybody to work with us progressively to make sure that we get the system right. So just don't disrupt. That I'm urging, please. School safety, in conclusion, as I conclude here, because of the challenges that we've been experiencing over the last couple of years, burglaries, especially during school holidays, burglaries, theft of school equipment, vandalism, and other criminal activities. Community, please, just be our ears and eyes. Let's protect the schools. There are communities that are doing very well, and I want to thank you for that, and I appreciate the work you're doing. And I want to urge those communities that are not really doing much, or they are trying, please make sure that you become our ears and eyes. It's pointless that during the holidays, a person comes and steals the equipment of learners. Come January, kids have nothing. Because that's what happens in some communities. So we need to make sure that you work with us. So local enforcement, they must be with us. And obviously our hotline is there. And that is still there. But more important, obviously the police, visibility, going around, turning around the school. We are asking them, the wardens, the patrollers, just every 10, 20 minutes, go around the school and check the state. We do have patrollers in the school, but we want everybody to protect the schools for us. So the information to contact us is there, the WhatsApp line or emails, our portals, social media pages, they're available. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for listening to our update. Thanks very much, MEC. So we're going to invite you to ask questions for clarity. You can ask us on anything, education. Tomorrow we are going to court with some people. Are we ready? Okay. You know the drill. Raise your hand, introduce yourself and the media house, then you ask a question. Can I see hands? 1, 2, 3 in area. 4. Mongezi, no brainwave. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Ron Friedrichs here from Network 24. MEC, I think you've done quite well getting all of the placements sorted. I was just wondering, in connection with your comments regarding schools' capacity, especially in the center of the province and people moving in from the outskirts or other provinces to our hubs, Obviously, you've done well now this year to place the learners accordingly. I was wondering on a longer term kind of assessment, you know, where are we at to ensure that the influx of more people and more students isn't hampering our progress with these type of placements. Obviously, with census and this kind of stuff, you are supposed to be able to have proper planning in place, but yeah, where are we at on that, especially in the longer run, with the building of schools and so forth to accommodate these children as well?
This is Patrubeng from Times Life and Sunday Times. So, you spoke about the issue of satellite schools. So this school in Pretoria North is called Railway Secondary. So some of the parents are saying that their kids have been placed at that school, which doesn't even exist. So I just wanted to find out from the department if there is such school, if it exists, and if it will be opening in January. Thank you.
Nerea Hlakutsa from the SABC. I just want to find out in terms of the schools. The MEC indicated that there are some schools that are in demand. So I just want to know if you could give us a picture in terms of which schools are those or where are they necessarily based? And also the issue of the appeals. How many appeals do we have so far? I didn't get the number there. And also how many have been placed at schools that they did not choose rather. Thank you.
MEC Zola Chiloane from Newsroom Africa. I just want to ask, touch on the issue of scholar transport. You mentioned that in the year 2025, you will be transporting over 200 learners. I know of a school in Garangua in Pretoria where parents have been complaining about not having buses and their children walk a distance of over 10 kilometers where they have to pass through bushy areas. It's unfortunate that I forgot the name of the school, but this is a story I did earlier on this year. So I just want to know if you are aware of those challenges and how are you planning on addressing them?
Okay, thank you. No, thanks for the questions. I'll go through them if the numbers, if I miss any. The HOD is on my right and Chief Director Mule Matonsela on my furthest right. These are the team that was responsible for placement. She's heading that particular area. Yes, I agree with you. The census does advise. They've shown us that, and this is an international norm, people migrate to urban centers across the world. So what we know now is a fact that Gauteng is going to continue to grow. That's what we should know. And obviously the planning should inform that. But I have to also lament that because we don't build schools, and that has been our biggest challenge. The Department of Infrastructure Development in Gauteng, or public works, what they call in other provinces, they've not built schools, enough schools for us. We've been had many challenges, and I have to say that's what we've been having. Because if the schools were coming, I can tell you, if the schools were coming the way we want them to, and expect them to, we'll not even be here discussing learner placement. It will never be an issue for us to even have a press conference. It will be a press conference to tell parents it's open and tell parents it's closed. That's it. But now we have to come and communicate time and again and set up all this because of we've not been getting enough schools. And that's a fact that should be known. But however, we've deployed a multi-pronged approach to build schools. outside them, we've sought other agencies to assist us. Amongst them is DBSA. They are giving us around 8 schools. We are also in the process. We also build internal capacity to build our own. So we are building around 18 schools. So in the next academic year, we are looking to get about 11 schools all in the next year, by the end of 2024. So next year is going to be a very busy year for the department and myself with the ribbons. And I hope you do come when we open the school, because you don't come when there's good news. You only come when there's bad news. So come when we cut the ribbons and celebrate with us, because then you'll see that capacity. So over time, this issue will be an issue of the past. And it's not about just building any schools. The top quality schools that we're building now. We're building big campuses schools which are proper. If you look at the school that we're in now, it's Marefel Yun is a beautiful school. I'm sure you've seen outside the condition. So these are the type of schools that we're building in our townships. Same quality, same standard. The only thing we do when we even open them, we just ask the community, just protect the school, make sure the infrastructure remains, and that's all. And I must say, some schools they've been able to do that. I can name quite a number that you can go to. So we're building these new schools in our township so that then there's less movement, which will affect even the scholar transport cost. So parents, we don't have to transport learners from one area to the other when there is a school within the necessary proximity. So we are planning around, but it's a runaway target, because every year, for example, this year we had a net increase of around 50,000 learners into our system. So the system of Gauteng grows very rapidly. And if it's 50,000, you are looking at about 50 new schools. If you say school capacity is 1,000. But also, there are also learners that exit grades, etc. So don't think that the 11 that I'm opening next year compared to the 50, it's a drop in the ocean. No, it's actually pushing back. It's progress. It's progress. So we do plan accordingly, but the challenge has always been DID. It has never given us school. It has failed us, to say the least. Because I have to say this, because if I don't tell parents this thing, they will not know. They'll come back to the department and say, well, you are not building schools. No, DID builds schools, they are not building enough schools. So next time, that question, when they call press conference, go and ask them, where are schools that education must get? Because they need that schools. With regard to Releboheng, we are going to be taking those learners to Teresa Park in the interim. But we are building those satellites quickly. So we should be moving them into those satellites quickly. Railway, Kisela railway. Yeah. Oh, yes, I know about this one, the railway. Kisona railway. Yes. So, yes. So, no, so we are where? But we are putting those learners into Teresa Park in the interim while we are concluding that process. Like I said, the satellite school is over a period of 3 years. Some are ready, some are not ready, and where we have placed learners there, we know. Don't say you said you have placed the children in this satellite, there's no satellite. No, we have put them in a temporary space in another school while we are concluding, then we'll shift them. So that's what we are doing. So what we should be when we investigate this thing, don't go to the empty land and say, the MEC said there's a satellite here, there's nothing. Go and say, where are the learners that were supposed to be here? Are they at home or they're at a school? And where's the school? That's what we should be, I think, a proper journalism that I would want. So look at it in that particular fashion, take that angle and check for the placement of this learner. Last time I was checking the appeals, we're sitting at around 5,700. Chief Director, 5,700 appeals. Yes, that's the last time. 707, correct. So we had about 5,700 appeals. So those are 5,707 parents who appealed the transfer. that's the figure you want. Yes, out of 80,000 that we've transferred. The transfer were 80,000, 5,700 are the ones that appealed. The rest, they said they were happy with the placement of their child. They've already bought uniforms. They are ready to send their bundle of joy to those particular schools. And this has got to do with trust. Because if there's no trust between the department and the public, you will see by the number of appeals. If you're sitting at a lot of appeals, then it's a lack of trust. But if you trust us that we will not place your child at a school where we will not provide education, of course, as a parent, you will be fighting, you'll be taking us to court, you'll be doing all these things. But because of the trust, we'll be able to demonstrate. That's why every year we also present the performance of township schools. Because some are appealing the placement at a township school. We're able to come to the parent and say, we have placed your child in this high school here in Tembisa. The matric performance of this school last year was 98%. The school that you want in the former Model C school, the performance of matric was 76%. So your child has got better chance of getting your child to progress much better here than where you think the child should be. But also, what is also important that educators come from the same university. It doesn't matter. They go to the same university, are lectured by the same lecture, marked by the same lecture, same classroom. So it's just where the teacher is. It doesn't mean that when the teacher is at a private school, at a private school university, it's Vets University, it's University of Pretoria, it's university, all these university schools. It's the same school, the same land, the same classroom, so the same quality. You know, so you as a parent, you decide to pay 300,000 a year, it's your decision. The same child who doesn't get, the parent doesn't pay, there's both teachers were classmates eating lunch together in the very same university. They graduated on the same day, got the very same degree. So it doesn't matter. So you have to trust the system from that aspect. But also that we work to make sure we support our schools. So the activities are very important. They are very important to notify us and let us know if there are challenges in the school. But they also need to support the school, lead the school, make sure the school is right. So those parents, 80,000 plus, have worked with us and they've accepted the transfers of their learners into those particular schools. Even with this one, scholar transport, it's a runaway target as well. There's always new settlement. And when there's a new settlement, people bring their kids very quickly. The pace they take to build an informal settlement is the same pace they take to bring their child from wherever. By the time we are among 1 hour, same time. The following week, they are in the street closing the main road because usually they are close to freeways. The following week, they are closing the freeways. There's no transport, there's no water, there's no electricity, there's nothing. Then we come in, we arrive in the settlement, we just find quite a number of them. But where these particular settlements, we don't have a problem. We will try to make provision and transport for children because that's our duty. We don't complain, we don't ask questions. When they're children, they're in school, we just take them. But you should know that there is this challenge. So it's a moving target, it's always growing, but also because there's not enough skills being built, it also increases the number of learners that we put on the scholar transport. Because if we don't place our children into this school, we have to move them to another school. So it means we have to then take a responsibility of transporting them into that particular school. But we'll look into this particular issue. I'll ask that we come back and see if this is still happening, if it's not been resolved.
On the numbers in terms of the self-built. In the presentation, good morning everyone. My name is Rufus Mutlana. head of the department. I just want to add on two things. The first one is the further element of the department creating classroom capacity. In the presentation, we spoke about schools or treasury having approved transfer of funds to schools to build additional classrooms. And maybe for your records, so that because numbers tell a story, the total number of schools which receive money to build additional classrooms are 437. 437 schools in Gauteng have been allocated additional funds to build classrooms so that they can expand their capacity. That's one. Two, on the scholar transport, indeed, the scholar transport, as MEC indicated, it's a moving target or a moving sand. The Harangua one, and by the way, I'm from Harangua, I go to that place every weekend. Therefore, I know about the learners we accommodated around Bundu Inn area, which is a new informal settlement which cropped up at the middle or early this year. We accommodated those learners. We provided additional 4 buses. So this one, I would like to know about it, and we will definitely accommodate those learners because learner safety is a priority to us. Thank you.
Okay, MEC, I have just few questions online so that we acknowledge those that are watching us online. Let's take your questions. This is a comment, MEC. They're saying, I'm deeply disappointed in the online application system. I feel so disrespected. So it's an unhappy parent. The other question is, why was my child rejected from a school I applied to when I mentioned that they have a sibling at the school? I think you need to answer on the sibling and how it works. And you rejected my application. And the other one, I'm so disappointed. My home address is near the school in the feeder zone, but my child was rejected. Want to be placed at the school that is closer to home, not far. I think is the distance. You put me under pressure or under duress to accept a school that do not want my child to go to by stating that if I didn't accept, you will cancel my application. The other question is, those parents who did not apply online, where will they be placed if the schools reach capacity?
Learner Steve, say the wrong out, so not the bala, man.
They're watching.
No, man, just, it's December, we're in a festive mood, good news all the way. I don't know what informs the parents' disappointment, but we know that it was always been, there are always challenges with Chief Director. Sabulela. Disappointed, I don't know what informs the disappointment, but there are avenues that parents can register their grievance with us. I've spoken about it, the appeals, they can write. We've got the hotline that we've put in for the WhatsApp, we've got the emails, we've got the social media pages. And I know some even write to me personally on my personal social media pages. So I would love to know what informs their disappointment. But some of them are just, it's an attitude. We know that some is just an attitude. They wake up, you might find that it's not even a parent, but they've been told this system doesn't work. This system works. And unfortunately, any province with a growing system will use this particular online admission. And in the Western Cape, they have. I want to give an example with them. They have an online admission system, but the only thing that they do, you just apply and then the schools will decide who they want. They pick their learners there, and then they move. It's not the same. We monitor, we make sure that we are fair. The learners, parents who apply on time, they are first, the learners are first on the queue. We make sure that they get placed, as opposed to a school deciding the learners that they want and the parents that they want. So ours is more in depth. It looks to ensure that it's got even got what you call a transformative aspect to it. So not where school will decide and who they want and then they move. So we move in and make sure that parents are fairly placed, their learners are fairly. We look into the sibling one, but what I've said that the criteria, the first one is home address. Now, there are certain communities like now in Hampton Park as an example, where there used to be 8 households. Developers buy those 8 houses, barricade it, build walls and build high-rise, 4 or 5 floors. So where we used to cater for 8 families, now we're catering for 300 families. But the school remains the only one. So you might find that parent might have applied to that school, it's closer to them, but the school is full by people who stay there. It's full by people who stay there. And also there's another problem that we are always dealing with, and this has got to do with the integrity of parents. Sharing addresses to other family members and friends for a school. And that's where we also have a problem with payment of school fees. Because now they share an address. In the system, you stay next door to the school. But in reality, your child, you don't stay there, stay in Tembisa. But the address says you are Edenvale High is on Linksfield Road. You are staying on Linksfield Road in Edenvale. But your child stays in Tembisa. You stay in Tembisa because you borrowed the address. And then you have the challenge. You have to transport the child. That's why you find taxis dropping kids at school. It's because of parents who have not been honest with us. And there's something else. So we work with what we have. We work with what is in front of us. If you give us the necessary documentation to prove that you stay there, we work with that. We don't go and investigate your integrity at the back. Do you really? Some schools do. Some schools do and check. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them because they're also avoiding the situation of school fees not being paid. Because this is a big problem of fees not being paid. I know a school which is quintile 5. 90% of the parents don't want to pay fees. They say they can't afford. The school is dilapidated. Literally, we must go and reinvest millions to turn around that school. I said to that principal, do what it takes to go and get that school fees. Because there we are not, we can't fix for you permanently every 10 years. You are making us to work backward when we're supposed to be moving forward. I told that principal that do whatever it takes. Tell them, because some say we'll go to the MEC. No, the MEC looks at each concern based on its merit. Some parents can afford, so they have to pay. So there's some of the contributing to the challenge that we have. Duress, I don't know. We don't cancel application and we don't place any parent under duress. Definitely, I know South Africans can't be put under duress. South Africans are very, they know their rights. I doubt you can put any parent under duress. That one, we don't, and we don't cancel applications. We engage the parent up to the last day, up to the latter, so that parents can make their decision. So, with the home address as well as the sibling as well. Sometimes the sibling is in matric. Maybe I might not have spoken about it, but when we say sibling, it's 1 to 7. and 8 to 11. Grade 8 to 11. No, 1 to 6, yes. Okay, it's 1 to 6. I've been corrected, which is 1 to 6. So if your child is in grade 7, we don't consider the application as a sibling in a school. It's only when the child is in grade 6 downwards. And in high school, it's grade 11 downwards. So, like I said, the merit of it, we will look into it. The parents can always appeal. They know how to access the department to raise their concern. We can have a look. But we are happy. I'm happy where I am. Grade 1s, we've placed them. So next year, all the parents of grade 1s, they'll be taking pictures with their children in the school gates. And high schools, the same. They'll be taking pictures. We just got 124, but we're almost done with them. I'm certain that by Christmas, the kids will know their schools, and everybody will know where their child is going. Thank you.
On that note, you wanted to ask? Introduce yourself and the media house.
Hi, how are you guys? My name is Tabi Malope. I hope I can speak because I'm so emotional about all this. Basically, my child, I did already 2 appeals. I so disagree when you guys are saying the level of schools and whatever is the same. Because personally, I went to this high school and I've been staying here. I'm 35, I've been staying here in this area. I've been running at the district, and only to find when I'm running to the street, it's only us, black people. But my friend, the children got accepted because they were building flats next to the schools. It's not my first time I'm carrying this problem. I've got 2 kids. The one is still in Albertview, grade 5 and a grade 7. I had the same problem when my child was in grade 1, the second one. And there was a sibling there. I only survived because I had a sibling in the school. Now, the reason why they declined me to a school which is walkable from where I stay. They declined me, which only one school, like it's only the primary school. We are divided by only a street. It's Alberton High and Albertview. We are declined it. Instead, they take us. The reason why there's no addresses that are filled, it's because even the area, even the review of the school, I don't want to mention the name of the school. If you can review the stabbing, the things that goes on, I'm very saddened. Even as I used to stand where you are standing, but today my child can't even come here. And I'm talking based on, I've got proof on children that been accepted. You find a child that's from Togoza is accepted here, and I have proof. And now I'm sitting with my child that wanted to commit suicide. Even my mother that are going to pension, they were like, we rather take our pension money, our child, to even if we need to take to a private school, because we're not going to have our child commit suicide.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, thank you. You are the parent. I thought you were the media house, but it's okay. It's fine. We know. We can have this discussion offline just to see your issues and evidence. But when you're saying we don't intervene in our school, is not correct. I don't think our schools are war zones, HOD. No, we protect our schools. We've put in security. We just work around the school, around the clock to make sure that our schools. But we'll look into her issue. The team is here to confirm the concerns of the parent, and then we'll take it from there. I don't think it's an issue that requires me to respond, because I need to look at the merit of it.
Thanks very much. The matter, the officials are here, will look at it and have the information about it. The media,
And I want to apologize that your child wants to commit suicide. It's a serious matter. It's not something that should be taken lightly. We do have a lot of kids that do commit suicide for a number of reasons. I don't know if it's this one, but we have seen quite a rise of learner suicide. So it's a serious thing that, it's a serious matter. Support we can provide, the necessary NGOs that we work with to make sure.
yeah, thanks very much. And I wanted to say, we will update you, the media, on the specific case, because I'm sure you will be interested. So that we know what happened. On that score, let me thank everyone and those that are watching online. At least we tried to respond to your questions, but we'll monitor those that need us to respond, most especially on our X. We know there's a lot of issues there. We will respond. And thanks very much. Let's close it here. It was our last briefing of the year. You can drink water there.